All right, hello, welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. I'm Jeff. We are playing Worlds Without Number tonight. We are continuing our sci fantasy hex crawl. If you're in the channel, hello, thank you for coming and hanging out this Saturday evening or whatever the hell time it is when you're watching. If you're watching this later on YouTube, we appreciate you there as well. Hopefully, you can come catch us live at some point and say hello. Tonight, as this is episode 4, I think. So we're going to be returning to town, spending some money, leveling up some stuff, and doing some things. Oh, Adam, thank you for those bits. Adam, are you guys doing your Goblin game tonight over on GP channel? Maybe. So while we're waiting on an answer for that, let's see. Other things we do here on the Lollygaggers channel, we play Mondays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Fridays, we do Delta Green, where we're playing through the Impossible Landscapes campaign. Saturdays, we do Worlds Without Number. And then Mondays, we alternate between Alien and Things from the Flood. And that Things from the Flood game is coming up on Monday, and will be over on the Free League Publishing Twitch channel. So with that in mind, we're going to have everyone introduce their characters. But because we just leveled up recently and they're getting back to town, they're able to kind of, get into it a bit. I want to kind of hear what's something cool and interesting that your character got, right? So you don't have to go through every single thing, especially don't worry about hit points or increasing skills and stuff, but specifically what's a cool new power, an art, or a focus that you got. So because I promised Ashley, I'm going to start on the far side and start with Melissa. And then Melissa, who are you playing, and what did you get at your second level?
So I am continuing to play Sonenka. She is a bowed beastmaster. And as part of her level ups, because this is always fun when this happens, I got savage senses. So I can now see clearly even in pitch blackness. So yay for that. And I also get some +2 bonus for kind of notice for sight, sound, and smell.
Okay, I heard you got dark vision. Basically, you can see in the
Yes.
dark.
Uh-huh.
Man, okay, all right. No, that's cool. That's cool. It's cool. It's cool. I
I
like it
do have
because
to commit effort to do it. So
right,
it's not
exactly.
just,
That's why I like it. It's not just automatic. You get it. No, it's cool.
yep.
There's lots of little things. Committing effort, by the way, it's a cool kind of. It's in Worlds Without Number. It's almost like a mana system in a way, and there's different ways you commit effort. So everyone has a specific pool that they can commit to their abilities, and so you can't necessarily just trigger all of your abilities at the same time. You have to sometimes make choices. And then your effort is usually your pool of effort is tied to usually a skill or something like that. So what is yours tied to, Sonika?
Oh goodness. Let's see. For my Beastmaster, the skill is survive.
Okay. All right. Right on. All right.
Yeah.
So that's Sonika. And then last time we saw Sonika in there, she was trying to chase down an enemy of hers named Usa, who apparently had done some horrible things to her brother in the past. And although the group was able to take out Usa's minions, they were not able to actually
Nope.
catch Usa. But they did steal his wagon, all of his goods, and his animals. So we'll see what
Vengeance was
happens.
partially served.
Maybe Usa comes back at some point. Maybe he doesn't. Who knows? Maybe he fell into a volcano. Let's move over and say hello to Long. Who are you, and what did you get at level 2?
Yeah, I'm playing Weiss, a partial mage of Blood Priest and Duelist. I went in and took the Foci Nullifier. So it's going to give me and my party around me a little nullifying effect against magical things. So it's like a little bonus to saving throw.
I saw that. I was like, that's like the no fun snake. You
Yeah,
think you
it
can do
kinda
that?
is.
No, you can't.
Wait, say this again. I was typing something in the chat. What
Yeah,
did you do to ruin
Nullifier.
my day?
It just gives a little bonus on magical saves.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's fine. That's okay. Bonus on magical save is cool. You know what sucks is counterspell. It's just I'm gonna cast it. No, you're not. Oh, okay. That kind of stuff. So magical save, that's okay. Bonus magical save is
It's
cool.
called
Yeah.
nullifier, so it has the feel.
Yeah. Okay.
And then
Right.
for the Blood Priest part, I'll get a sort of like a blood or a bless esque ability. It's just
Okay.
like a little extra bonus.
So you can give somebody a bonus what, HP or bonus to saves or what
Looks
do
like
they
a
get?
+1 to hit and damage.
Oh, right on. That's actually really useful. +1 to hit and +1 to damage is quite a lot in this game. It's got different scaling. If people who are familiar with 5e or something like that, that type of scaling is a little different in Worlds Without Number. Very cool. And Weiss, Weiss almost fell into a volcano himself. Well, fell into some lava a couple weeks ago, but last week he one-shot a dude, which was pretty cool. He just walked up and just stabbed him, so that was nice. You got to use your like channel pain ability or whatever it was to
Yeah,
just
it was blood for blood, so
yeah,
the damage I took was returned.
yeah, it was pretty awesome. So he just walked up and one-shot a dude. It was great. It was fantastic. And then finally we have Ashley. Ashley, who are you? And what did you get this time?
I'm Octavia. She is our skin shifter warrior adventurer. I took for a foci, I took close combatant. So level 1, I gain combat. Any combat skill is a bonus skill. I can use knife-sized throwing weapons in melee without suffering penalties. I ignore shock damage from melee assailants, and even if I'm unarmored. But invoking this benefit disrupts any spell casting I might do that round due to the need for violent active evasion.
Okay.
So if I want to skin shift, I can't also use my skill.
Okay. So you basically are immune to shock damage. Does that require effort or?
It doesn't say it requires
Okay.
effort.
Right. Just curious. I don't know all the abilities by heart. So, okay. Very nice. You're becoming quite the tank even at level 2. Lots of HP, lots of
I
cool
just
little
want to be
tricks.
dumb and have you hit me, but I want to live.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's just
Living is good.
Okay. No, it's true. It's true. There's other ways to hurt you though besides shock damage. Just saying.
that's true. You
Just
can
saying.
kill everyone I love
Mhm.
with the change stars.
Yeah, it's
Take-
true. That's really your fault, though. Like you're the one who
mean-
decided to smother themselves with marinara sauce. So
I
it's
have
not really.
performance anxiety.
There you
It's
go.
a thing.
It happens. Okay. So quick summary. This is our own kind of homebrew world, sci-fantasy. It is a planet in which numerous alien species have found refuge after being displaced from their homeworlds. And they, in many of them, at least the ones that we're following in our story, have taken up residence within a ancient, giant, massive, like mega city, the megalopolis or something like that, in which whoever built it is no longer here. And the prevailing theory is they suffered some kind of catastrophic Pompeii-like disaster, and so now these aliens have taken up residence within it. You all were unfortunately residences. You had your residences in a place called the Crustway, which is just a road underneath the northern plateau within this city of Big Husk. And something fell from the sky at the very start of our adventure. This polyhedral object that had parachutes and stuff. So for us, it tried to slow its descent, but it kind of screwed up, and it rolled and smashed a bunch of buildings, including the ones where you all called home. So you were left homeless once again, worldless, now homeless, and you had to kind of scramble around to see, well, what can you do for money? What can you do to kind of get yourselves back on your feet? You were given a job by a kind of shady character named Ravala, who said, hey, go out to this military depot in the mountains, recover some tech, and if you see this other group that's led by some of my competitors, then you can take them out. And so you guys said, okay. You went and did that. You almost took them out. You had some fun, had some fun little misadventure along the way. You return, and now you've returned, and so you've returned triumphant heroes several days later, having gone into the Undulant Mountains, returned, and let's go ahead and get started. So I think what we're going to do is let's do a little kind of like home scene downtime stuff, and then we'll kind of dive into to playing a new adventure. So you all return. You have in your possession numerous bits of ancient salvage, various pieces of tech, or that kind of stuff that you said that you were going to recover for Ravala, schematics and things. So when you go in, so I presume that you're going to meet your meet your contact at their warehouse that they let you stay in and finish the exchange. Okay. So we'll say that you're able to find Ravala, and they are quite pleased to see you, to hear about your misadventures, to hear that you have certainly put a wrench in the plans of Martine, who is Ravala's former business partner. Now they're separated for reasons. and has a very big, eerie, creepy smile on their face. Remember, Vivala is a very tall, slender, kind of like an alien gray with these big, glassy black eyes and no nose, and is very pleased to see you.
Ravada, very pleased to see you. Everything went wonderfully. I'm so pleased. I see you have acquired yourselves wagon in furry little creatures with which to pull. Is there any problems with which Ravala can be of assistance, or shall we conclude our business here at hand?
Might have taken on more than we wanted. My head is splitting right now.
Is looking in one piece to me.
I'll explain this weird thing that went inside me.
Okay, so yeah, at the end of the last episode, both Octavia and Weiss, as you guys were inspecting some weird little contraption in the middle of like an old street in these waste districts, where it looked like holographs of these creatures were moving about. You guys were inspecting, and they just sort of touched you and merged inside of you. Ravala looks and,
That is most concerning, but if what you say is true, it is simply light that has entered you. I am sure it is fine. You do not need to worry. Take two aspirin and call Ravala in the morning. I'm sure you will be fine. We have neither phones nor aspirin here, however, so that's a shame.
What
But
about
there are
mornings?
many healers here within the city who could take a look if you are concerned.
Very well.
and other than like a little bit of a lingering headache, you guys actually feel fine. You know, you're tired from the road and all that kind of stuff. So, Ravala's going to go ahead and inspect the stuff that you brought back.
Oh, very good, very good. This is all wonderful. Oh,
Kind of unfurls one of these scrolls that has like electrical circuitry.
oh, this is wonderful.
Looks and sees some of the scrap.
Oh, Ravala can use this in resell. Very, very.
You see Ravala starts to pulls out some little like contraption. This looks like a graphics calculator. Starts punching some numbers in.
And Ravala thinks we can do business. I shall give you the bonus, of course, for handling the thugs of Martin. But I believe with everything that you have provided here, I can give you 300 silver. Does this sound acceptable to you?
Yeah, I think that's super cool.
Okay, I'm glad it is super cool with you, Octavia. Very good. Very good.
And so yeah, if no one wants to try to haggle, then 300 silver. We're treating that more abstractly. It's less about literal coins and more about like just the worth of it, so that we can line up with all the various charts in our book. But like it's the equivalent of 300 silver, so 100 silver per person basically. Okay.
Now, if you will excuse me, I must get to work. I have many things to do with it. If you wish to continue our wonderful starting relationship, then Ravala could potentially find new work for you in future. Can I count on you if such work becomes available?
Yeah, come visit us anytime.
Wonderful. And where will you be staying now? Unfortunately, the Crustway is not yet open again. It appears it will not be open for quite some time. Fortunately, you now have 300 silver, from which you can find some place to call new home.
Yeah, I think we're gonna look for something.
That is good. I would offer, but my warehouse is not a place for residence. It was, as you can understand, it is a place of business. It's not a place where people can be sleeping on floor all the time.
You can always leave word at the high bar, and
Yeah,
it will reach back to us.
that is good. I shall do that. Yes, very good.
I'll find you. And Octavian just
Ravala is not
we
sure
can-
if they
we
are
can,
being
like-
threatened right now.
no, I'll find you and maybe I'll like give you like our address like over lunch or something. We can hang out. It would be cool.
Ravala would very much like this hangout. This sounds wonderful. Yes.
Awesome. That's and like Octavia's like yes.
So you spend a little time emptying out the wagon, because Ravala doesn't want the wagon. You guys could keep the wagon and those like shaggy mules that you have if you want. Like they're yours. You have to figure out how to feed them and what to do with them, but like you have them now. I've also given you all some renown for completing the task, and there's this interesting thing that you can do once you get money. If you spend a third of your rewards from adventures carousing or donating it to charity, you can actually increase your renown even further. So if anybody wants to do that, you can. It's the equivalent of 30 silver or something like that. So then I guess my question to you guys, and this is where we get into the home scene, is what are you doing with your money? Where do you want to try to stay now? That kind of stuff. Where are you going to try to make home?
Before we leave, I want to give her, I'm not quite sure the scaling of what would be an appropriate amount, but Sonenka will say, I am interested in other ways to make Usa's life miserable or end Usa's life. So I'll give some of the coin back as if you hear word of kind of his whereabouts or another such job like this, keep me in mind.
I shall get my agents, my network, to listen carefully for the arrival of USA in the city. I have not yet heard of anything. You are the first from either of the expedition parties to return, so should USA return, I will most certainly contact you. Excellent. Thank you very much. That is most appreciated. And Ravala, they do some kind of bow, like this weird lie, almost look like a grass blade bowing in the breeze and then straightening back up.
So Nenka will attempt to emulate that.
I am offended. I shall kill you now. No, thank you. That is wonderful.
Okay. So then you guys have to think about where do you want to try to stay? What do you want to look for? So we haven't really talked a lot about we're going to start building up the city some more. So there's the city itself, the inhabited portions of Big Husk. There's about 8 separate districts that are considered under the protection or the coverage of the Huskorg enforcers and the Cabochon and the Milodronic laborers and stuff that are basically the leadership of this city. So you all were home in Grub Hill, which you still could potentially look to find additional home over by the litter markets or something like that. It's a very inexpensive area, but it's also a very rundown area, very much slum-like. There's the Wrecker District, which is kind of on the eastern side. So Grub Hill is more to the north. Wrecker District is a little bit on the east. And Wrecker District is where a large portion of the Huskorg live, and it's kind of known for having this fairly rambunctious bar slash arena called the Thrash House and stuff. And so it's there's a lot of aggressive types. Think of it a biker bar area is kind of what you want to think about it in those terms. There's the Middle Wharf, which is on the west side by the water. There are these caves along the cliffs and stuff that you can actually find apartments within. Usually that's usually for people who have the ability to either climb very easily or fly, because you don't want to always have to wait for the elevator to take you back up to the main level, since we're on a fairly high cliff. But you could potentially go there. There's the Manufactory District, which is mostly where the guilds and unions have their halls, but there's still some apartments and things around. And then there's Rockfall, which is to the south, and that is in the shadows of the southern plateau. And that's a very antisocial place. It's constantly in the shadow, and it's frequently a place where those who don't really want to be connected to society live. The Baphomian Enclave is there. There's a lot of dead god ministries in that area as well, where people are kind of weird and they have somewhat off-putting, or they have rituals or behaviors that are a little bit make others uncomfortable. So it's not a place where people usually opt into unless it's something that they are particularly looking for. So those are places you could potentially look. So you guys can talk amongst yourselves in terms of where might you want to find some place to live. And you don't even have to live together. You can actually find other places to take up residence.
Well, you guys already know Octavia wants roommates.
Um, so all these places are affordable to what we just got.
You can haggle. So there's some
So
haggling that might be involved. Yeah. And there's pros and cons, obviously. So the idea is like when you live within these districts, you're living underneath like there's Huskoric enforcers that are patrolling the streets and stuff like that. There is like this electronic wall that's sort of set up to protect from the various creatures and strangeness that's out there in the waste districts. You could push and go find your own place outside of that entirely and just go live somewhere in the wild, but there's dangers to that as well. So it's anywhere you want. Grub Hill is probably the cheapest. Wrecker District is another really good place, but it's also a very loud place. Middle Wharf is the problem. Again, the problem with Middle Wharf is mainly you're frequently waiting on like this long elevator that goes all the way down to the ocean, to the water below. Big Husk is on a very tall cliff, and so the apartments are usually in the side of the cliff itself. And so there's some species that have the ability to fly or incredible abilities to climb. None of the three of you are those species necessarily, but that is a place. The manufactory is also more of an industrial place, but there are some places where you could hole up, especially if you're part of a guild, or a union. And then again, rock falls for like the antisocial or people with peculiar religious beliefs that it's kind of makes the rest of them uncomfortable.
So I would say that I think my brother lives in the Wrecker District. So he might be able to kind of find us a place or help us find a place if we're looking for a little bit of assistance with that. I was going to want to go have a conversation with him, but that's an option if we wanted to find a place.
The Rockfell place sounds like something I want to hole up in.
Okay, that sounds good. And again, there's no reason you all have to stay together as you're grown-ups. You're all grown-ups. You can have your own place. Okay, so let's split that up. Ashley, you can think about what Octavia wants to do as well.
Slumber party with Senenka? Down.
Okay. So we'll say for
Works.
now, Seneca and Octavia head to the Wrecker District to meet with Seneca's brother. Weiss, you're heading down to Rockfall to inquire about a place where you could stay. Now, you had your own like kind of mini church on the Crustway, right? That was sort of destroyed, and so you might be looking for a place that you can then relocate to in Rockfall. Okay. So let's start. Let's start with Rockfall then. Would you say that Weiss would know anybody with like peculiar backgrounds? Being a blood priest, I think it's a decent chance. Why don't you roll connect with a DC of 6, and then we'll see if you can make, and then we'll make an NPC that might, if you pass, that might be able to help you out.
I'll do with charisma, yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right, this is a negative bonus. Oh,
Okay.
yes.
With a 6. So would we say that you would have a friend who is also Karastakaran, or would it be something else?
That could be anything as long as maybe
Okay.
they favor the blood priest a bit.
Okay. So we'll say that there is in fact kind of a blood priest sanctuary in Rockfall. It's sort of, think of it like a temple or like a place where, almost like a monk, like brotherhood, sisterhood, whatever. And they're welcome to take you in. It's not, you don't have a ton of privacy, but you could certainly stay within the dorms, within this temple area, this sanctuary. You would probably be required to a certain degree to tend to basic duties, like you have to help with like something, find some way to contribute, either with chores around the fields, because they probably tend to some private gardens, or cooking, or something, or you would have to be paying them, tithe and duty for staying there. But yeah, you could probably stay within those dormitories.
All right, I'll strike up a deal then.
Okay. And then what's the name of the blood priest that you know?
Oh,
Yeah, I'm going to be doing this a lot, guys. I'm tired of doing all the heavy lifting with the world building. You guys can do it.
his name is
Ferdinand is what Galen said in the in chat. So
I
that's
like
what we're
it.
going with.
That's pretty
I
good.
like it.
Ferdinand. All right, perfect. We'll say Ferdinand is for just because it's Krastakaran, probably just like you. So somewhat humanoid, but like a lot of various bone structures and stuff on their face, and they are happy to bring you into the fold. They probably are sympathetic towards your little church that you try to extend out to the poor within the slums of Crustway, but they are certainly happy to have you here to help extend the word of your blood lord. So you're taken care of, and we have a new NPC. Awesome. So then we'll switch over and we'll go to Sonica and Octavia, who are in the Wrecker District.
Mhm.
So in the Wrecker District, there's sort of two main areas that you might find some kind of residence, and you can kind of tell me where you think your brother will have shacked up. There's Bitterbrick Avenue, which is a very loud place. There's the Thrash House is here. There's some commercial buildings. There's like some herbal remixers and stuff. And if you live there, usually you're living in some kind of like tenement house type thing that it's like stacks of buildings. Or there's the Dust Huts, which is essentially this completely demolished block of buildings. Like there's nothing that's higher than maybe 10 feet, and people have set up more like lean-tos and shanties and things like that. So would you think that your brother would live somewhere in Bitterbrick above?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And what is your brother's name?
Petya.
Can you spell that for me?
P-E-T apostrophe Y-A.
P-E-T apostrophe Y. You and your damn apostrophes.
Everybody, all of the names.
Okay.
In my family.
Sonica and Petya.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, and they live in Bitterbrick. Okay, so there's pretty much anyone who lives here lives in a building that goes up, like a tenement house, a tenement apartment building. And usually at the base of the building, there is a store or a shop of some kind. What kind of shop would you say is at the base of Petya's building? You don't have to give me a name, just give me a general idea of what kind of shop it might be. And anyone can chime in on this and chat. You're free to throw out ideas as well. Don't rely on them unless there is a delay, so you have to still think. I saw you immediately look over to chat, like, help me.
Yeah.
It's not appropriate.
I was initially just thinking it was like a food market.
Okay, food market. Okay. Food market in the Wrecker District. Probably, if it's the Wrecker District, it's probably mostly meats. So it's probably more like a butchery of some kind of questionable meats, mystery meats, we might say. We might even call it mystery meats, because no one really knows entirely which animals we are eating and whether or not they're good. And a lot of the growth, the farmland area is sort of highly controlled by the Cabochon, unless there's like people have small gardens and stuff. Okay, so you go and you see Petya, and Petya is Rat Feast. Okay, I'm changing it to Rat Feast. I like that. Keep the ideas coming, Galen. All right. So you head there, you pass through the Rat Feast, and you can see that they're having a special of some kind of tailless meat. They don't know exactly what it is. No one really asks. It's actually a faux pas to ask where the meat came from in here. And if you do, you are thrust out of Rat Feast, much like the soup Nazi in Seinfeld, where say no meat for you, and you are thrown out of here by some sort of creepy looking Prusny, that same species as Ravala. And we'll say that your brother probably lives in the middle floors, which is not too rich, not too poor. You track him down, and it's a modest apartment that he likely has to share at least some amenities with. But is he older or younger?
He is younger than me, and he is married.
Okay, so you open the door, you see him, his wife is at the markets down in Bushrise getting some food beyond just meats, and so you see Petya here, and he says, "It is good to see you, sister. I was concerned with you. I've heard that you have left the city. That is a very dangerous thing to do. Our parents would not approve, I do not think."
Well, really think you are the last one to talk about putting family in danger. I mean, Galenia is pregnant and you still work for these roughnecks, and this is where you're going to raise your kid. But that's not why I came. This is Octavia.
He looks
Hello.
affronted. He's like, "Do you think that once you have a family and someone loves you, then perhaps you will understand the responsibility and how you should do whatever you can to provide for them? At least I am trying." But no, yes.
Just because.
Hello,
you were
Octavia. My
forced-
name is Petya. I am Sonika's brother, though she often treats me like I am her child. You are welcome here. And he steps away from the door, literally ignoring Sonika at this point to let Octavia in.
Octavia looks at Sonika like, Ixnay on the mom.
And Seneca just says, "This is a conversation we've had hundreds of times before." I tell him, just because brawn mods were forced upon you doesn't mean that you have to act like a thug. You can be who you were. But
You have mods?
I am a very strong person.
What do you have? Can you show me?
That is quite rude in our culture, but I shall show you because you
Is
do
it?
not
I
understand it. Yes.
apologize.
And so he'll like roll his sleeves up, and you can see that there's these muscular like replacements of his arms. He doesn't have like a full like Jax from Mortal Kombat arm, but you can see like the part where the bicep is. There's like metallic and there's like metallic replacement bits, but there's also some kind of plastic like elastic, some sort of elasticity going on there. And when he flexes his arm, like you can see it, lights kind of shine up, and he pulls up his pant leg, and you can see the same thing in his calves and stuff. Yes, in my limbs I have muscular replacements.
That's so cool. I have just goat legs and like Octavia.
Well, yes, I am familiar with your people. Yes. It very cool, but also very painful, and I often cannot.
Does it still hurt you?
At this point, I cannot feel much below in my extremities. My hands, my feet are often quite numb. Yes, so that if I cannot tell if I have broken something, it is and which
Gotcha.
unfortunately is a occupational hazard, as they say.
Would it be rude for me to ask what your occupation is? I don't know why I'm slipping into.
It is a very
I'm
infectious
imagining that I'm imagining a little bit of a biker gang kind of a thing. Like he's gotten into he kind of beats people up kind of a thing.
Some might call me private security.
That sounds a little better than what we did. Cause like, why am I doing Lavinia?
I don't know. It's very, like I said, very infectious accent.
It is. There you go. Yeah. Sonenka, that's basically what we did.
And he kind of looks at his slow move of his head.
Like, we beat that dude up. You know?
You know who she refers to? It is Usa.
I
She
mean,
refers
we
to.
didn't beat Usa up, but we beat his thugs up.
It is his way. He is very slippery, that one.
He will.
Question. Did you want us to kill Usa?
Preferably,
He doesn't. I do.
Preferably, I do not see why murdering the man is the optimal way to get revenge. Some of us.
So you just want him to be sad?
Sad.
I would like to bring harm on him. He tells me since he's moved on with his life, I should move on with mine.
It is true.
I think vengeance is still on the table.
We are here on a completely new world, and this one still harbors old grudges from prior time. We have many more things to concern ourselves with. We have a whole new world with which to establish families, explore, and this one wants to revisit. No, it is time to move on.
I don't agree, but in the meantime, you saw the things that fell from the sky, so we don't have a home anymore.
Oh,
I was
so you have
wondering-
come to your little brother that you want to browbeat in front of your new friend to ask if you can stay within my home, that you disparage the means with which I
No.
actually acquire said home.
All of that is true. I was actually just wondering if you could point us to a unit that might be open. I know that you and Galenia are trying to, prepare for the little one, so I wouldn't imagine that we would come and stay with you.
Your wife is gonna have a baby?
Yes.
Sonenka, I would love to be a babysitter if you ever need one.
It is possible. We will keep you in mind. Octavia, you are a very bright star in the sky that is around the darkness that is my sister. I am very pleased to meet you. You shall stay for food when my wife returns. We shall bake bread, and I shall inquire about what the apartments within the building are open.
I
for you.
would greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Indeed. So you guys go ahead. You sit down. It's a couple hours. Eventually, what's her name? Galenia? Is that what you said?
Galenia.
Galen, and I assume there's Galen apostrophe YA.
Yes.
Okay. All right, Galenia. Did you name her after Galen in the chat? Because you put
It's Gilen apostrophe Y.
but eventually she comes back. She's much nicer to Sonika than her brother is and everything. But Petya also gets much nicer when she's around as well. You have a nice meal. They put you up for the evening, and in the morning they are able to find a place for you to stay within the same building. Go ahead and roll a trade if you want to try to haggle price, and we'll see. I'm just going to do this like really broadly: cheap, average, and expensive. So
That's you, Octavia. I don't think I'm.
if you beat
Likely
if
good
you
with
beat if you beat a DC 6, you get average price. If you beat a DC 8, you get a cheap price. And if you don't beat a DC 6, you get an expensive price.
What would be the attribute?
That's up to you. You tell me.
I was assuming charisma, which I have.
It doesn't have to be. It could be intelligence. It could be wisdom. I mean, it could be strength if you want to like start roughing up the freaking
Okay, I don't
the
wanna
real
rough
estate
up
agents.
anybody.
I don't think that works here. I think everybody is pretty much a badass and.
My wisdom's a 1 + 1. Do you have anything better than that? In int or anything?
Same thing, but I've got a -1 for
For
trade.
Okay, same. So we have like the same biz.
Okay, let's go ahead and roll it. Whoever
Go.
wants to do it.
You're the chatter.
We don't have to act it all out. Just, I'm not gonna act out the heck out
You're
of
the
it.
talkative one.
Give it a roll.
11.
Oh my! I'll say with an 11, that far exceeds my expectations, and so
You did strength.
Oops. Sorry.
Oh.
I meant to
I don't think
do.
you meant to do strength.
So subtract the 2 or subtract 1. So it would have been a 10 anyways, right? No. Because I'd be doing. I'm just gonna roll.
I just roll a new one. That's shame. Okay.
There we go.
DC 6, you get average price. You try to do the whole like, oh, my brother lives in the building, and the real estate, the person who controls the building is just like, that's true, and they pay an average price, the same price that you'll be paying. So, but you do manage to get, and the two of you, roomies now, Laverne and Shirley.
Yes.
Ashley, roll a D10.
What for?
None of your business. Get out of here.
10.
On the 10th
Ooh.
floor.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Why?
Sonenka is not particularly heights friendly.
That sucks for it. Don't go to a window then. All right. So you guys have acquired places to stay. Sounds good. So then the next question I have, and this is going to go for everybody, is let's just deal with some personal pursuits. Like I want to kind of dive into what your characters are going to try to hope to accomplish in this world. Like what are you living for? So like I'm thinking like, what's something that you want to work towards? Like, is there like, so Weiss, for instance, do you want to try to rebuild like your own church in like the Crustway or something? Or do you guys want to like, kind of go adventuring or whatever it is, go exploring beyond the city? Like, I'm just kind of curious, like what the three of your characters might want out of living here within Big Husk.
Yeah, I have more of a physician background.
Okay.
So I want to like cure disease, sort of.
Okay. Do you want to like maybe try to establish some kind of clinic?
Yeah, I could do that too.
Okay.
Clinic, just help.
You don't have to.
guys.
I mean, it could just be you're trying to just cure disease. Okay, I like it. All right, and then the thing I'm going to ask is what's something you might be able to accomplish in the next hour and a half? What's a beat you might try to do that might, that you might kind of lead towards a very small something that you might want to try to do in the next like hour and a half.
Maybe purchase some some herbs or something rare.
Okay. All right. So, gotcha. All right. Sounds great. So I'm writing this down. So you want to find a cure. So I think what we can basically say is that it's probably pretty obvious that since all of these different species have found refuge here, and there's really bizarre ways with which most of the people who have come here have found their way here, which we haven't really talked about too much. But it's just a lot of your worlds were under assault or attack or were being broken apart, and huge chunks of your species would found their way here in one of two ways, either through some sort of bizarre and unexplainable teleportation or through space, right? One of those two ways, and the vast majority is the former. And you're on this, so there's this intermixing of all these species that don't know each other all that well. It's hard enough to try to get along and try to find some way to communicate, and you're on this planet, this world that no one's been before. So it makes perfect sense then that there's all sorts of diseases and illnesses and sicknesses, some mild, some severe. And so we'll say that you're aiming to help kind of understand what some of these are. And there's probably a specific disease that is probably more virulent and dangerous than the others and is actually killing people. What do we want to call that, Long?
Oh, I saw like I would. Let's see.
Good. So you had time to think of something.
No, I couldn't. Let me give me a second.
No, it's fine. Dead air is great.
Some sort of ideas. Let's see. Could be a disease where, like a seven X's disease. It's where
7 X's.
these small marks appear, like an inner limb. It's unknown how they start showing up, but once you get 7 of them, you're pretty much gone.
Oh my god, dude, you're describing something like a dream I had when I was like 11.
What the heck?
Yeah, it was on the neck though, but yeah, other than that, it was the same thing, and it was 11 spots. It was 7, but otherwise it's exact, and that creeps me out. All right, so small marks appear on an inner limb. Okay, do we have a name for this? It could be like a formal name, or it could be just sort of like a slang name. Either one's fine.
Did you say they like show
Oh.
up as X's?
Right. So I was just originally I just said 7 X's, but
Okay, we'll just call it that for now. That sounds good. All right. And so you're gonna head out and see if you can just buy some tonics, some tinctures, some herbs and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Bring them back and start mixing. Okay. All right. What about Octavia and Sonica?
Octavia's never been to this district before,
Mm-hmm.
so she really wants to explore.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. So this is like the quick one. But what's
Yes,
a
yeah.
bigger goal that Octavia might have?
A bigger goal that Octavia has is her parents didn't think leaving home was responsible of her.
Leaving the enclave?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so one of her desires is to prove her parents wrong, like that these others aren't as bad as that they used to be, maybe. And that, the other species generally can kind of get along with you. And she wants to get a large plot of land where she can create her own enclave.
Okay. I like it. That's a nice long-term goal. And it's a multi-species enclave, like a diverse.
Yeah, just
Awesome.
people with similar ideals and
Cool.
stuff.
You want to make a cult. I got it.
Yeah.
Why am I not surprised? Okay. We should say that your species, the Perfomians, they are very, very closed off. They don't like others. Yeah.
And I think almost to the extent of I don't know if we've talked about it, but just families, raising
Mhm.
kids communally.
Yeah. They don't, very rarely do you see them milling about. They'll go into the city for reasons if they need to, but they don't just do it casually. It's not like, hey,
Yeah.
let's go out for a drink tonight at the high bar. That doesn't really happen very often. Octavia is a young, a little bit more free, and I like it. And then you
Yeah.
want to explore the Wrecker District. Okay. And then finally, Melissa, what's a goal for Sonica? A big one and then a small one.
So Sonika doesn't necessarily disagree with her brother in the sense of taking advantage of the fact that we kind of landed on this, kind of alien to us location. But she definitely is much more about nature than, Sadawan generally are.
Mhm.
And so she's very much about traveling, seeing things, and especially when it comes to, kind of the fauna. Um, Communicating with different animals, taking different types of animals as companions, kind of not just having one the whole time.
Gotcha.
So it's just sort of about that, almost collecting
Sounds
kind
great.
of the experiences of that.
Okay. And what's a small beat did you want to try to accomplish this ep?
We snuck in our new pets to our new apartment, and so I'm going to work on some training.
Okay. I'm going to assume that you found somewhere at the base behind the Rat Feast, butchery,
For the cart.
for
and the
your
animals.
cart and your wagons, and you probably expressly explained that those beasts are yours and they're not to be
They're
butchered.
not food.
Okay.
Yes. they're
Okay.
not
So you
food.
want to train. So first ep, you guys found some creatures that you fought. You killed their parents,
Yeah. And
who
we
were
took the
just
babies.
trying to defend the nest.
Yeah.
And then you stole their babies, and
Mhm.
now you want to raise them. These were called Vitsu. These little kind of like bird-like creatures that flightless birds. Okay, so let's do these one at a time. We'll start with Octavia. Easy enough. Octavia, the record district is large. Each district is probably a couple miles in terms of length or width. And they're all sort of misshapen. Someday I'll do an actual district layout for you guys. But there are kind of two main sections that people branch off into. The place where you live is the more active area where there's commercial pursuits and stuff. There's people who have opened up bars and restaurants. There's people who have opened up different shops and things above which you now live. And that's Bitterbrick Ave. There's also a very popular, there's a popular bar tavern area that has like essentially cage fighting, and it's called the Thrash House. It's like a metal biker bar place, that a bunch of Huskorg enforcers hang out there. Huskorg are like the really big walrus people that work for the Cabochon, who run the whole city. They're infantile and friendly, and they just kind of do what they're told, and they're like a recently uplifted species that is just happy to do things. And so they're there, and they're playing in metal bands. They're thrashing around for fun inside of this cage. But that seems to be like the most popular place.
That's where Octavia will go.
Okay. So you head over to the Thrash House. Perfect. Vice, you said you wanted to go and you want to try to hunt down some specific herbs. Go ahead and why don't you roll a connect roll. Or if you prefer something like no, you guys can always, whenever I throw an idea out, if you think there's a skill that you would rather use instead, you're welcome to make a case for it instead. But I think connect would be good. No is another one that could potentially work.
I'll go with the no here.
Okay, go ahead and roll it. See if you know of a specific place that you can go and find herbs that you could potentially bring back to your new place in the dormitory.
9.
Okay. Strangely enough, right in the record district, there is a place called Herbal Remixers. It is a place where not only where you can go and get your stuff, but it's also a place where you could potentially sell plant salvage and stuff that you guys find in the future. For now, Ravala took care of that for you, and if you continue to work with him, they should probably take care of that for you just fine. But if at any point you guys want to go independent, this is a place that they buy everything. And so you're able to head there to Herbal Remixers. We've got, when you walk in, you can tell that it's basically the lobby of like a hotel. And you can see that inside this lobby, there's all of these different planters all over the place, where there's different colored ferns, not just green, but like reds and purples and yellows. All the plant life has kind of got different colors to it. There's probably about a dozen people milling about. Half of them look to be working here. They are watering these plants, caring for them. Some are helping out customers. And you see that behind the desk, as you wander in, you see an older woman. You would probably assume that she's human. You don't really see any mods on her to suggest she's Sedawan. She's tan, very very tan, and she has like white hair. It's all frizzy and crazy, and she's got like a wrinkly face. And when you walk in, she's like,
Hello, young man. What can I do for you this morning?
Yeah, good day. I'm looking for some herbs, some that can maybe provide remedy.
You mean... Oh, remedy. Yes, I'm sure we could handle... Is there a particular ailment that you would like to address?
Yeah, I'm working
Dysentery, perhaps? You've got the runs?
No, not for me, for others.
Oh, of course, yes, for others, yes. There's no reason to be embarrassed, young man. I have had the runs so many times in my old age. In fact, the older I get, the more often I get them.
That's
Anyhow,
lovely imagery.
Let me see if I can find those herbs for the runs. Let me see. Unless there's something else.
More of burns and cuts, maybe.
Oh, you want something like a poultice? I suppose I could put something like that together for you. Do you want the materials so that you can create it yourself, or would you like me to do it for you?
Oh, I'd like them separate so I can make it myself.
Just the raw... Oh, you think you're better than me. I see. I understand. Roll a trade.
and you can use whatever you want: intelligence, charisma, wisdom. Roll a trade.
You could use strength and rough up this old lady.
You could just punch her right in the face. She just shits all over the ground, and you're like, "Oh, she was right. She did it the
I
rest."
got this, or I found this weird numbing agent, and I'll offer maybe that water.
Oh,
See if that's of interest.
this is. She takes a look at it. Oh, unpops. Oh,
My young man, this isn't water. Oh, goodness me. This
I'm willing
isn't
to offer
water
half
at
the
all.
vial. I'm not sure what it is
is
either.
it?
Do you have any idea?
It's the equivalent of blood. Oh, you poor fool. Did you encounter one?
Blood to what exactly?
Well, I don't know if it has a name, but there is rumor that there's some sort of creature out in the wastes that moves about. On my planet, we had what was called a Venus flytrap. And what would happen is it was a plant that would rest open its mighty jaws, and then when an unsuspecting creature would land right in the middle of it, it would clamp down and eat them. This creature is very similar, except it's far larger, and its exact origins are unknown. It takes on different visages sometimes. It could look like a reef along the coast, or perhaps a sunken bit of rubble, a ship at the bottom of the Lake Wusterok to the east, or a pond as you walk down the waste districts. If you encountered one and you came back with a vial of whatever substance this is, you should count yourself very lucky indeed that you haven't been eaten up by it. That is quite a tale.
Well, I will take those blessings then.
Indeed. Whereabouts did you see this?
I'll give him an estimate.
Okay. Yeah, and it actually wasn't that far away. Look at Ashley. She's like freaking out. I almost ate you first ep. You don't know. You're not there, Octavia. Go away. Right in the mouth she did, but it had already just eaten a bunch of Nindarians, so it was kind of okay. but she says, but she'll give you with 12, and she's like, are you sure you want to give this over? This is a very valuable find. I can give you, perhaps. She looks around. 100 silver for the vial.
Oh, we can form a long-lasting relationship instead. If I need things, hopefully I can rely on you.
Did you just propose marriage to me, young boy? I'm flattered.
Marriage in the business sense.
So yes, I can take this, and as long as I provide you an ongoing supply for
It's
your...
just like a credit of 100 silver.
Indeed. It sounds like a wonderful idea. My name...
She looks around, makes sure like no one. She doesn't want anyone to have like heard this little conversation. Not her name, like she's worried about. Like this conversation about like what you're giving her seems to be a very prized thing. But she leans in.
My name is Andrea. Whenever you return, ask for me, and I'll be sure to give you the employee discount.
Okay. So Sonika, you said you wanted to train the Vitsu as we shift over.
Yes.
Is there a particular thing that you were trying to do with them? Like, describe to me how you're training them. These tiny little creatures.
So let me pull up what I can do over here. So
Do you have like a dog leash? Like, are we training like that? Because that's what Octavia wants at heart.
like one leash that has like 3 hands.
Yeah.
Bouncing
Just like a
treats on
little
their
hydra.
beaks. Nope. Awful.
So I would actually be committing Beastmaster effort for Tongue of the Beasts to kind of try to kind of practice communicating with them. So, and I'm not gonna like use it kind of in like that sense of like actually understanding them. It's just
Okay.
so that we can learn. I can learn their little cheeps and whatever
Okay.
noises it is that they make.
Roll some sort of personality test. You can combine it however you want. You could do convince. You could do charisma, wisdom, something like that. Give me. It could be perform if you're trying to like kind of play with them or something like that. Whatever you think.
Can I do lead?
Lead? Yeah, sure.
All right.
Absolutely.
I'll do wisdom and lead.
I just
I like it.
picture Sonenka. I'm mom, not food.
It's like its beak is like right in her cap. Go ahead and roll it.
11.
Wow. You talked. So you reach
I
out.
am pack leader.
You reach out, and you get all of their voices echoing, and they're talking way too fast, way too quickly. They're confused. They don't know where they're at. They're like, where is this place? And then you take a kind of a firm hand with them, and you're exuding confidence. You're exuding, use the cliche, like the alpha position of it. And it takes a little time, but not as long as you think, as long as you thought it would. You figured you'd be at this for most of the day, but it only takes a couple of hours and a few tiny bits of mystery meat from the rat feast in the base of your building. And suddenly you hear them referring to you as Mama. And they start following you around inside your apartment like you're the leader of a little squad of ducks. It's like Abbey Road, the Beatles walking across crosswalks and stuff. They're still very small though, and very fragile. So you would know that it's possible something could go wrong. You don't want to you have to be careful where you bring them and what you feed. And they're meat eaters, so they're carnivorous and they want meat. So you have to keep that in mind as well.
So when Octavia comes back, like Sonenka's totally gonna be like, watch this. And she'll like walk from one place to the other and you just see like the trail. of all of like the little ones behind.
That's a Sonenka. I told Mom.
Okay.
So it's a good thing that we're living over a butchery, because we're gonna need to take lots of little bits with us when we go to keep practicing with them.
So later that night, Octavia, you go over to the Thrash House, which is
Okay.
a few blocks away. You can hear the music playing. And when you go inside, it's literally just you look up and there's a stage, there's like chicken wire covering, and you can see there are these three big Huskorg in this like really sort of tiny looking you're not really exactly sure what this species is. Like, it's not one you've seen regularly, but it's a fairly small looking species. It looks almost gnomish or halfling like, and they're like on a base, and all the other ones just sort of thrashing like, and there's like a chalkboard off to the side that's like Super Cody tonight only, and like yeah, and so that's the name of the band as they're playing around, and there's people throwing drinks up. You see like cabbages or something akin to cabbages are being thrown all around. There's a mosh pit that's happening. People are pushing themselves all over the place. Flippers are out and in and knocking over. Like, all sorts of stuff's broken. But everyone seems to be having a good time, despite the fact there's all this like physicality going on. People getting pushed about. Like, you definitely can tell that the atmosphere is a jovial one, and there doesn't seem to be hard feelings when someone suddenly gets knocked over and their head like hits the side of a table and they get up and they're bleeding and they're like, whoa, yeah, woo, and like all that kind of activity. So it's very himbo vibe here, but like metal himbo, you know?
Yeah. Is there a place where I can get a Super Goaty t-shirt?
Okay,
Do they
roll
have like a merch table?
roll luck. A merch table. Roll luck. Luck is for a bunch of different things. It's mainly for like, whatever. But I'm just rolling here.
Success.
So they don't have t-shirts necessarily, but they do have what looks like these like big old chain necklaces. And so it's like literally taking like refurbished metal chain that they found somewhere out in the waste or somewhere within the husk. And at the bottom of it, they have what looks like a skull of some kind of creature that you think is probably indigenous to Big Husk. I don't know, you're not really sure what it is. It looks almost like a fish or a crab or whatever. It's hard to really tell. But yeah, that seems to be the pendant on it. And they're selling that. And like all of the different interlinked chains are like different colors and things.
I want to buy one.
Okay. So that's going to cost you like 10 silver.
Okay, cool.
Okay. All right. So we'll say all of this takes place over the course of a little bit of time, day or two or so to get all this done. Eventually, I would imagine you all head back to your old stomping grounds at the High Bar, if that's fair. I know it's not the same as the Thrash House, but the Thrash House is not a place you necessarily go every night. It's the type of place you go maybe once a week just to get it out, and then you go back to the High Bar for old time's sake. But eventually you all reconvene, and you're at the High Bar a few days later. You see Ravala, who comes over and buys you all a round of drinks and says,
Urvala is working on something new, very interesting, waiting for a few more bits of information, but I might have something for you soon, so hopefully make yourselves available. Do not become too committed. Very lucrative. Very lucrative. Dendarians might be involved, but that is all I can say for now. I will speak of it later. Thank you. Have a good evening, the rest of you.
and does like this grand flourish. Okay. So as you're getting your drink on, looking down at the crustway on your usual balcony table, and you can see that the Huskorg have completely barricaded off your old living street. The giant polyhedra object is still there, but it looks to be sort of being like whatever they did, it's no longer got like the lit like diodes and stuff. So somebody has like depowered it, whatever. You hear from others around that say like they took something out of it. They went inside, and then they came out, and there were these canisters that they were carrying. So they clearly found something inside, and then they took it out in these canisters, whatever it is. No one knows this, but I heard a rumor that there were people inside, that someone was flying down from the sky. And then someone else is like, well, I heard that the ancients were inside. And someone's like, well, I heard that inside of this, they look around like there was a reclaimant. And everyone's like, shh, watch your mouth, blah, 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 blah. Like, no, don't talk about that. And so there's a lot of these rumors that are floating around. But no one really seems to have like a good idea of like what was actually in it. Everyone has a different story. Eventually, though, as like the night's getting on, you all are joined at the table as like you see they've been looking at you for a bit, like they can kind of eyeing you. You've been noticed that you've been being watched, but this family of Firkin begins to wander over towards your table, each of them carrying a small little drink. So Firkin are basically like families of rodents, like chinchillas and gerbils and hamsters and things. It's a swarm, basically. They swarm around together, and they move up to see you. And as they stop near your table, you see like a couple of them are like sharing the weight of carrying what looks like these big tumblers in their hands. And there's 3 of them, and someone speaks up like, "Can we buy you a drink, please?"
Sure.
Good.
Do you also need a beverage?
No, we have some.
And you can see all the other ones have like these little tiny like shot glass size, and they're carrying like big old like mugs for you guys.
Oh, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
And like a different voice from the pack of 12 says it, and you can tell like halfway through a sentence, like suddenly like like whoever started the sentence stops, and like without even missing a beat, another group says, and someone else in the group says something.
You mind if we pull up a chair? If we get over the table, it's hard to speak to you beneath the table.
So then come and move a chair over.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
And a few of them
If you
climb
want
up.
on the table. That's cool too.
A couple of them climb up too. One of them starts climbing up Weiss, and like,
Excuse me, pardon me.
Oh, aren't you guys adorable?
and they kind of look at you.
What did you say?
And then you can see one of them like holds the shoulder of a different one, and then you hear them just start squabbling.
Begging you, please, we would prefer not to be called adorable too frequently. Our identities are diminished by our cuteness, and we are, in fact, a very proud species.
Oh, well, I do apologize.
No
My name's
worries.
Octavia, and she like goes to like shake a hand, and then
No, that's fine. And so like one
Yeah.
by one, they all kind of reach out and shake your hand,
Yeah.
lean across, and like 12 little.
yeah, there's just like
all
a little
shaking hand, like,
line
"Hello,
of procession.
Hello. We're the Breezels. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Appraisals.
Very
Pleasure is
pleasure.
mine.
And so they're all kind of reddish brown. They're like these patchy chinchillas. They got like pretty big ears. And you can tell that they all have a ton of scarring on them too. Like they're all wearing like, a lot of them are adorned with clothes of some kind, like little pants or jackets or something like that. A few of them have like these tiny little utility belts. A couple of them have what look like hats that have like lights on them, like miner hats. And these are all probably about, a foot to 2 feet tall, like somewhere in that range. You can tell some of them are very young, some of them are older, but they're all kind of this patchy reddish brown. I would say that you guys would know that these. There's plenty of these families around, but they tend to they roll around in these swarms, and it's considered kind of rude to just sort of try to distinguish between them. They prefer to just be known as a group, and so whenever you talk to them, it's always like a family name. It's like the Breezels, or like for me it would be like the Bakers, not Jeff, but the that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so in the conversing that's happening when they start talking and introducing themselves, like each one of them like takes a part of that introduction. Some of them are less, are quieter than the others, but they're they're kind of peculiar. And you can see that there's like mud coverings on some of their clothes and on their feet and everything. They're kind of dirtying the table up considerably. But after some small talk, they say, we were led to believe that you
all of you were the group who took it to Martine's goons. Is that right?
Indeed, it is true.
Good. He's a very, very mean one, that is. He
Is
threatened
he
to...
picking on you?
Well, no, not us specifically, but he's a bit too big for his own britches. And it's good that someone takes him down.
And that sentence was spoken by like 4 different people, like 3 words, and then the next 3 words, the next one. It's like it's almost disorienting when you're talking. Like, wait, okay, gee, okay, you know, because it's something that most people have to adapt to when they talk.
Mm-hmm.
But I only bring them up because we only bring them up because it's we've heard that you are capable and that you are perhaps willing to do hard work for coin. Is this
We never
correct?
shy away from hard work.
Oh, wonderful. Dangerous work.
Well,
Yeah. You know?
Potential
Like-
disintegration, death, all those types of things. That doesn't concern you at all.
it concerns the price that we might request.
Oh, I see.
And then they turn, they're like, and they speak in some sort of like squabbly like thing where they all start like yelling at each other. None of it is discernible to you all. And they,
No, we are prepared. We and some of the other families in the Mud Warrens we have pooled together some resources to find someone such as yourselves to help us with the problem.
What's the problem?
I'm glad you asked. A friend, a family friend of ours they've gone missing. Yeah. The route runners, you see, you know what a route runner is, yes?
they look at you. And you guys may have heard this, but basically, the Cabochon often like hire certain species, especially the Furkin, because they're so small and they can get into like places that others can't, to start running through like some of the subterranean labs and the other complexes below the surface of Big Husk, and even as they push out into different districts to explore and find new places and new ways around. But they're frequently hired to do that, and because of that, they get a certain level of prestige as they're allowed like this whole area that they call the Mud Warrens, which has just got a ton of water pouring down upon it, which is a prized position for them. But they say,
Our friends, the Woolavies, they haven't returned from the shift. It's been several days at this point, and we are very worried. We think something terrible has befallen them, and the Cabochon and the Milidron, they will not let us into the route to recover either our friends or the bodies of our friends.
Where have you sent them?
We haven't sent them anywhere, but over in Quadra 8, the Cabochon are trying to explore beneath the city. It's unreleased, so not allowed to go there on your own yet. But it borders the Wrecker District, and well, the Woolavies, they were taking their shift, running the routes through the pipes and such, and they never returned. And now, none of us are allowed back down under, and we fear that something has befallen them. If they have passed, then so be it. But if we can't take their bodies and deal with them, then the Woolavies will not be allowed into the Great Warren, and we cannot abide by that.
and you would know that they're like, especially you, Vice, would probably know that they're very religious. Like the Furkin are like super concerned with sort of spirituality and like all that kind of thing. And Great Warren is like their heaven, basically. And so like there's very specific rites that have to be too old to twitch. Maybe shut. So,
But they say if you could find your way down there and look for them, we are prepared to give you 700 of your wealth.
sounds quite pleasing.
I should let you know, though, that route running is a very dangerous business. Many of us, our families, are ripped apart. As we are literally ripped apart, like there are things down there that rip us into multiple pieces at once, and we're quite small when they're able to do it, and so it's likely that you all will be easier to rip apart into pieces, but there's more of you, so if it's just a little piece from you, you're probably fine. If a little piece is ripped from us, we're pretty screwed because we're not very big to begin with. You've lost many brothers and cousins and sisters and aunts and uncles and mothers and fathers and grandfathers and grandparents and little tiny ones to all of the route running we have done over the years. The least we could be provided is to have our people back. Yes?
You said the Cabochard are managing this place or this dungeon?
Well, they'll always want to be first. You know how they are. They want to control the dissemination of the various ancient tech that we discover. They want to be the first to examine it, see if it's suitable to the broader population, or if it's something that they need to keep only to themselves. The big walrus people, the Husk, they're very big. They're friendly, except when they're at work. And then they're not friendly at all. And then those mechanical ones, the Millidrones, you can't even speak with them. They just say zeros and ones. No one will listen to us. We have no one to appeal to.
We would be happy to take this on, but I believe we would
Cool, thank you. See you later.
require some type of map or something. It sounds like you and yours have spent a lot of time there, and as I don't imagine any of us have ever been there, it would be helpful if you were able to provide some suggestions for possible places of ingress.
I understand. A map would be difficult because the routes we take are small. No offense, but you're far too fat and big to get into any of those. So
Very true.
it's nothing personal. It's just obvious. But we have two options. It depends on how you would want to go about doing it. If you want to just try to reach the dig site and take the excavation tunnel downwards, you could certainly do that. That means sneaking into Quadrant 8 when you have no rights to be there. The Husk forces patrol it regularly. And while they're, again, very friendly people, they are very fearsome. And at the same time, I don't know what would happen to you if they were to find you. And then there's, at the site itself, there's at least a half dozen Millidrone, the fraggers who are there, and at least a cabochon supervising. You would have to find some way to get past them to access the most direct route downward. Very difficult. Another way, this one is not without its own perils, of course. You could potentially gain access subterranean style through the smoke tunnels beneath the manufacturing district. You can go underneath there. They are not fully explored. We have explored them at great depth, and we explained to the cabochon and to all those that the smoke tunnels go on for far greater distance and far greater depth than us route runners have explored so far. So we believe that they connect. It is circuitous, and the smoke tunnels are not without their own dangers, of course. But they are also not patrolled by the Husk.
Just to confirm, you said at night is when they're not allowed there?
At all?
At
In
all.
Quadra?
Oh, at all, okay.
No, it is an unreleased district. So you guys would know that unreleased basically means that it's not for public use yet.
Okay. We'll find which way favors us and take it.
Yes.
I certainly we certainly appreciate the time, the effort. If you are to die in such the behavior, we will try to recover your body so that we can bury you and you can make it off to the Great Warren. But we would prefer if you were successful, of course, and we didn't have to do that, and we can get our friends back. But
As would we.
who knows how it's going to go? Them's the breaks, as they say.
Octavia is still just kind of in the corner, just kind of sniffling, thinking about all their lost family members. And man, that's terrible that you guys lost so many of your family.
Yes. We're used to losing, a dozen or two per week, but now we have lost 100 maybe because of this particular quadra.
That's terrible. We will definitely go and retrieve them.
Awesome.
Where should we find you upon our return?
You
as
can
we
you can ask
hope to
for us
safely return?
at the Mud Warrens if you want to seek us out. But we'll return here every night for several nights to see if we can find you instead. But if not, go to the Mud Warrens and ask. Well, for us, the Breezels. But if something should befall us, well then, any of the route-running families who live over there can be sure to understand our arrangement at this point.
Okay.
I can. We've agreed to forward you a portion of your pay ahead of time, but to, as I've been told, withhold the rest to make sure you all don't bullshit us or something.
You have been given good advice.
Yes. So here's 5 silver that we're forwarding you. Is that not
That's
the right
good.
amount?
No, it's 700 at the end. So you would have a number closer to maybe half, not 5. And then
Half?
695.
Or
That's-
at least like enough for just supplies before we go.
Supply. I see. And they're we shall forward you 300, and the other 4 will be waiting for you upon return.
Deal.
If you happen to find our dead bodies, you can take whatever money back.
Oh, well, thank you. It's very
You won't need it
considerable.
then.
That same deal is not extended to our family and friends. If you were to find them, then you need to not do that.
Oh yeah, no. If we find them, we bring them back to you.
Yes, no looting.
Yeah,
Of them?
no, that's you don't know.
What you do with the various tech and stuff you find below, that is your business, and if you choose to steal it, and you can deal with the cabochon, then we don't want to know anything about it. But if you find our friends or any other Firkin that have been left to die within the subterranean tunnels, then I would demand of you to return them to us so that we might see them off to the Great Warren.
We will take as many as we can.
As we find. As we find.
Good, because the other one sounded like she was threatening to kill us. But I'm glad that you clarified. Goat creature.
And like Octavia's very happy with that.
This has been a very wonderful time. Thank you very much. Is there anything else you need from us?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Well, good luck.
Thank you, Breezels.
Goodbye.
And they all go around and like shake all your hands. Every single one of them. It takes like 5 minutes. And then finally like, see you. And they leave. It's fairly late. But
We'll make preparations for tomorrow then.
Okay.
Maybe pick up like a dungeoneering kit if that's allowable.
Yeah. Yeah. If you guys want, you can do some ask it around research into the smoke tunnels if you want.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
That definitely seemed like the way to go, not the other way.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
scared
you
of
can do
other
the
way.
same thing with the quadra, but I mean, like, you guys know that the basic rule of thumb for going into an unreleased district is that if you're caught in there without proper clearance to be in there, it is usually going to result in you getting your asses kicked by Huskorg enforcers in some sort of lengthy imprisonment on in the Cabashan Plateau. So, or worse.
Maybe I'll ask around and see if there's any good reason to access the sort of districts.
Like, what do you mean, good reason to?
Like how people are getting clearance, like what for.
Oh, okay. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so why don't you then you're gonna roll for that. One of you can roll, or one of you can roll for the smoke tunnels, and then the third person can pick whatever you want. Like, does that make sense?
Mm.
Okay, so Weiss, this is a knowledge roll or a connect roll, something like that. Like, connect could be like there's somebody you know that might know more than you. No is just something that maybe you personally just know.
Sure, I'll try and
Unless
know.
there's something else you can think of, I'll take any of that.
Let's do a no right here.
Okay.
7.
All right. So you would know that there's a few different ways that there's a few different people who would get clearance for an unreleased quadra. Obviously, one would just be enforcers. So if you like more than 90% of enforcers are Huskorg. It's very rare to see anybody who's not a Huskorg work as like a high priority enforcer, because it's really kind of the way that the relationship between the Cabashan and the Huskorg work is just like where the smart decision maker leader types and the Huskorg are happy to just sort of take orders and sort of almost look at the Cabashan as parental figures. So there's the enforcers. Then there's usually like the tech experts, like there's like what are called defragger squads, which are like these groups usually of Milidrone. These are the robotic like centipede type people that you sometimes see moving about. They'll have access as well. Usually there'll be a Cabashan, at least one that's kind of supervising the whole industry there. And then there's route runners. Now route runners that are usually subterranean or terrestrial tend to be the Furkin, because they can kind of crawl and climb. If it's like exploring a spire or a very tall building, they often employ mimicry, which are like these bird-like species that fly around. In this case, that wouldn't apply because it sounds like this is more terrestrial and subterranean.
Mm.
And so those are the people who would get it. So you would literally have to be on like the dig squad.
Yeah, I see. Okay.
Okay, and then who's rolling for the other one?
Info for the smoke tunnels?
Yes, for smoke tunnels. Go ahead.
All right. So wisdom and...
If you think there's a person you might know that can give you information and you prefer the roll connect, you can come up with an NPC and explain why they would know. Or if you just want to see if you personally know, then just roll no.
I don't know that I would have any connections. Octavia, do you think you might have a in-city connection?
I mean, is that how we want to do it? Where I'm talking to someone to see, and you're just trying to see if maybe you just know something?
Yeah, I could do a different roll if you think you might have a connection. You can do the connect roll.
Yeah, I'll try it. Ravala. 9.
Okay. If you want it to be Ravala, that's fine. If you go and you seek out Ravala and ask what they know about the smoke tunnels.
Yes, this is very interesting place. The theory is that it was used for subterranean transport of some kind. The humans have referred to it as a subway system transit.
Okay.
But there is no clear evidence that such a system is operational. As you know, much of this area is active in terms of its geothermal nature. And no one particularly knows where the smoke comes from, but the smoke is quite dangerous. If you're going to spelunk down there, and you are not a member of a species that can inhale the smoke and be fine, then you might want to acquire respirator masks for yourselves.
Okay.
Very dangerous. Also, I've heard that there are smoke coils that are very dangerous, and it's very difficult to discern them from the nature of the regular smoke creatures. Snake-like, but not. They are different. They are more like wisps of smoke that move through the actual smoke and hunt down others.
Like ghosts?
Maybe, but more like ashy clouds. Ravala has never been there, because Ravala is not stupid. But I've heard these stories. They are not off limits. You are welcome to go down there. It is not against the rules. No one will begrudge you. Be careful. Very easy to get lost within the tunnels. I have heard of some going down to seek riches and treasure and never returning. It is why Ravala prefers just normal exploration of waste districts, of course.
Gotcha. Ravala, do you know where we could get, like, respirators?
What am I, your freaking father? No, I can sell them to you, of course. I am a dealer, of course, yes. For a, small discount. Finder's fee, shall we say.
Okay.
You're telling me you're going into the smoke tunnels. There are many things that might be valuable to Ravala down there, so...
That's what I was thinking.
Shall we say 40% of your findings?
We're mostly looking for people. There was this lovely family of Firkin, and one of their fellow families went missing. So we're trying to help find them.
I did not take you all for bleeding heart heroes and such. I thought you were just looking for money.
I mean, money's nice, but family's really important,
Is it?
If it is to you.
Ravala does not think so.
Do you have family, Ravala?
No, not living.
Do you want... Ravala, we're friends now. We're family.
We are business associates.
And Octavia's just like, yeah, no.
You may call me whatever it is you want to call. Friend, family. Ravala will call you business associate.
Ravala, you'll like me one day.
It is not that I do not like or I do like it. It's just that you are a business associate. It is important not to mix certain things. Business and non-business should not be mixed.
Well, yeah. And Octavia's like, so if I find anything cool, we'll do the usual. We'll try to bring it to you.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Well, yeah. I mean, if we find it, we'll bring it. Just, I can't sell you people. That feels weird.
And if you do not bring me anything at all, then I will get percentage of whatever you are getting for this job. Is that correct?
I mean, I'm just gonna buy the respirators from you. Like, how expensive are they?
I have provided you with information that might help you in your various excavations below. I do believe it is only proper. Ravala is rewarded for this. What if Ravala had not told you about the respirators? You would have gone down there and you would have choked to death and died within minutes. What if Ravala had not told you about the smoke coils? You would have gone down there, and if you would have not died within 10 minutes, then you would have been eaten or ruined or whatever it is those creatures do to people. In fact, Ravala has saved your life now twice. How much is your life worth, Octavia?
Well, my mom says it's priceless, so there's no cost on that.
That might be true. I shall put the price of your and your friend's life at 25% of your findings. Or your earnings.
Yeah, okay.
Excellent. It is good to be business associates.
None of you guys are there to help me.
Nope. You have just given away 25% of your earnings to Ravala. I'm writing this down.
Yeah, I'm also writing it down.
Okay. All right. So
You trusted Octavia to barter. That was a mistake.
I think
We'll learn that
Octavia
when you
should
return.
always be the front person. I am gonna just milk you guys for some reason. Okay, so you get 3 respirators, and I know that Vice wanted to get some other things. You said like an adventurer's kit. Was it? What was it?
It was a dungeoning kit.
Okay. Yeah. You can easily, with the money that you've recently acquired and the advance, you can afford that stuff. So just mark it down.
Right.
The litter markets over by Grub Hill probably have them, or somewhere along Bitterbrick Ave in the Worker District, where Octavia and Sonica now make their home. You could probably find something there as well.
Do you have that list long?
So it's not like a actual list. It's just like a general kit that like you can pull things from.
Okay,
That's
cool.
reasonable.
Yeah.
If something
Nice.
comes up that makes sense for a dungeon.
Yeah. It's
I
just
like
sort of
it.
a way of kind of giving shape to what you might have in your inventory and stuff.
There's one other thing that I would like to have, or acquire.
A spine?
No,
No?
I have one. I thought I got a great deal, Jeff. What are you talking about? Anyways, like chalk to like help mark where we're going or have been.
I think it's fair to say that that's probably in the dungeoneering kit.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sonica
We used chalk one time in a Astonishing Swordsman and Sorcery game that just radically changed the difficulty of the dungeon. It was awesome. It was the most intelligent use of chalk I've ever seen in my life. And I'm a teacher, so yeah. We were gonna say, Melissa?
I wanted to get some type of small like bellows or something to try to like if we needed to try to like clear smoke from an area or something.
Okay. Manufacturer there's the various mechanicer guilds, the salvager guilds, unions and such. You could probably find something there. I would say that's we're gonna have to probably make up a price for that. So why don't you go ahead and roll a trade and see if it's like, do the same thing we did before. If you roll a 6, you get an average price. If you roll an 8, you get a good price. If you roll under 6, it's going to be a crappy price. It's going to be... Okay.
7.
Yeah. You get basically an average price. So we'll say probably about 15 silver.
Alrighty.
Okay. So we'll say you spend the morning doing your odds and ends, grab some food for lunch. It's early afternoon. Do you guys want to do anything else in particular before you set out on your adventure?
Maybe tell a couple people where I'm going if I don't come back.
Okay, so you tell Ferdinand at the Blood Priest Sanctuary, like, if I don't come back, bye.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Do you tell your new friend Andrea at the Herbal Remixers?
Yeah, I'll let her know as well.
Okay. And she's like, did you tell her where you're going into the smoke tunnels?
Yeah, was heading in the smoke.
Oh, if you could, sweetheart, if you can get me some ash, I would be very appreciative. But a very particular kind.
Can you go into more detail?
There are these creatures that are amongst the smoke. They are the smoke, they are ash, and they shed like skin like ash. If you can collect it, it would be very useful in some of concoctions. Also, there's like a crystal that has started to grow that I've seen that can be used for certain things, healing and the like. If you can find any of those, I would certainly pay handsomely.
Of course, we'll keep an eye out.
Okay. So, do you want to go in the afternoon? Do you want to wait till night? What's the idea?
Yeah, we can just go whenever
Okay.
it's all right.
Yeah.
enough.
Though Octavia is gonna go and stop by to pet ya and be like politely like knock on the door if he's home.
Oh, hello, Octavia. It is good to see you. What can I
Hello.
do for you? Is my
Uh,
sister dead? Is that why
no.
you've come to notify me of
No,
her
no,
death?
no,
Oh.
no. So I came to just let you guys know, because you have the little one coming, and I'm very excited to meet them. We're
We're
going
thinking
to try.
about the name Steve. Does that sound good to you? It is a human name. I heard it is fantastic. It is good. It means strength and power or some such.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. We'll let it marinate.
Yeah, we're
So
just
I was
workshopping
thinking,
here.
yeah, we're gonna go try and like the the smoke tunnels.
I am
Uh,
aware of them. I've never been myself, but yes, I know.
I just want to let you know we're looking for a Furkin family. So if you don't hear from us within like a week, if I'm dead, you can have my earthly possessions
I can have them all. That is very, very.
for the baby.
You don't want them to your family or anything?
Well, if you could notify my family, that would be amazing. But
I will certainly
my
try.
mom will tell you that she was right and I deserve to die probably. So maybe not. And like at this point Octavia's just kind of like awkward and she like reaches out for a shake and she's like, thanks.
Yeah, no problem, dude. It's fine. You'll be back. It's okay. My sister is with you. You'll be fine. She is very capable. Do not tell her I said nice things about her, though.
Your secret's safe with me.
She is very capable, but boy, she is so controlling. It is ridiculous.
Sisters are like that.
The stuff that she complains about was like 20, 30 years ago. I don't know what is she still complaining about. It's just absurd. We're adults now. We move on.
Yeah. I mean, my sister personally still holds grudges, so I don't know if it's like a sister thing, but she loves you.
I'm writing down right now that Octavia has sister.
Yep.
I'm presuming the name is Helena, just out of guess.
It is now.
Well, you take care of yourself and you take care of my sister. And good luck finding the family.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay, peace out. See you. And closes the door. What?
And right before, so you know how we have pets. They live behind the butcher, the rat feast. Do you think?
I think she has the pets in her apartment. I think it was the mule
Yeah,
thingies.
we share an apartment with the pets.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Octavia's playing a long con. She's gonna steal your baby. Is what's gonna happen. She's gonna steal that baby.
No, your brother is gonna come live in my enclave eventually, and
boy.
I will help raise the baby.
Are you gonna home wreck? Are you home wrecking now?
No, I just want them and the wife.
Oh, that
I
enclave.
want-
Gotcha.
I want all of them to
Gotcha.
come live with me.
Oh, this is good because I very much love my wife.
Yeah, she's beautiful. I also love your wife.
Eh. No, just kidding. Don't tell her I said that. She will kill me. Oh God, she's around there. I joke.
Can you feed our pets? I'll pay you.
Yes, I suppose I could do this for roughly 70% of the take, the earnings on this job. I'm just gonna take it all. You guys are gonna be left with 5%.
No.
Of course I will help feed your pets. No, this is not a
Thank
problem.
you.
I'm curious why my sister did not come herself. She must harbor a great grudge towards me.
She's getting the stuff ready for it, and I was just excited about your baby and also our animal babies. I kind of left without telling her where I was going. So if
Yes.
she also shows up, I'm sorry.
So what I'm imagining is like whenever this conversation is over, Senenka is gonna come walking like down the hall. Like right as you're walking out. And she's going to be none too pleased that you're having like an independent discussion with her family that you just met.
Wow.
Do you say something about it?
I wanted to make sure that you guys were done with your
Yeah, it's fine. I'm just screwing around.
scene first. Tape, what are you doing here?
letting him know about our animal children and also where we're gonna be.
Okay, well, we don't really have that relationship. He doesn't know everywhere I go. And I mean, like, I would be the one to talk to them about that.
And
Not-
Octavia, blissfully ignorant. She doesn't understand what you're upset about, and she's gonna be like, why? I thought we were friends.
I-
Sinenka, are you telling me that you're not my friend anymore?
no, we're, we're friends.
Are you telling me
we're
Petya's not my friend?
No, he's your friend, but we're. And so Nenka's gonna like, she was really like, this is, boundaries kind of a thing. And then she just sort of sighs in that, like, this is not going to get explained to her satisfaction.
Just a long suffering.
Like, this is what I've signed up for.
Yeah, you're like, great, I live with this.
Okay.
So, are they gonna feed? They're gonna take care of.
Yeah,
everything?
I left.
Yes, we will
some
take care
cash.
of them. No problem. You can trust me with this.
Octavia's gonna look because she saw the question. Are you gonna eat our babies?
I'm not going to eat your babies. Don't be ridiculous. I shall take care of them.
Sonenka,
And so Nenka's gonna like lean her head in and be like, and the mules are not for sale or eating either.
You have a very low opinion of your brother to think that I would eat your pets or sell your goods.
Just wanted to be clear.
Again, I want to point out that
Also-
I am the staple one. I am the one. My family, I have job, regular pay. You are the one doing random adventures. Truly, what kind of future is there in this kind of occupation? I hear you're going into the smoke tunnels. That's very smart. Go down there, turn into smoke yourself.
So Nenka just turns to Octavia and it's just like,
like, what if we died?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I don't think we will, but
Most people who die unexpectedly do not think that they will die. That's why it's unexpected.
and so Sinenka's just gonna roll her eyes and just say, "Take care, Petya," and
Okay.
just gonna take Octavia by the hand.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, peace out. Closes the door. Okay.
So I'm gonna hold your hand the whole way
Oh,
back.
God. So, what do you guys want to do?
I'm down to head into.
I've been
the
waiting
smoke
at the
tunnels.
dungeon entrance, like, where are you guys?
You're just like, you're like, I wish I had like a second person where I can summon them here, but like I don't. It's a WoW worth. Okay. So let me go ahead and do a little roll really quickly here. Nothing to worry about. It's not. Oh no, that's troubling. Okay, so
We don't like that.
there are multiple entrances into the smoke tunnels. Like there's more than one. And you can usually find them in the manufactory is the most common place to find them. There are probably other ones around the city as well. But the most common one is with the manufacturing. Like you go there, it's a very much like kind of like a Pittsburghian industrial feel. Like you get like there's clearly old infrastructure of factories that are crumbling or partially rebuilt, those types of things. And we'll say you find one particular entrance that is near the end of what's called Scrap Alley, and there's a couple different guilds here: Savagers Guilds, Mechanicers Union, stuff like that. And a lot of the times, what they do is they dump stuff into these entrances because it's sort of their way of getting rid of it. Because sometimes out of sight, out of mind, and some of these tunnels go down in a very steep and very abrupt, like think of like a giant elevator shaft. So as you're waiting there, Weiss, for you probably, I would say, let's say the three of you agreed to a specific place that you'd go down. It's not hard to find. You look down, and a couple people pass. Some people look at you strangely. Some people wave. Some people don't even pay attention at all. But you look down and you realize like this is going to be a climb going down. And it's a good thing you have that dungeoneering kit now. But it's also, you can see that every so often, like there's all sorts of these smoke and heat billows up out of it. So since you said specifically you were here, we'll go ahead and do a roll and see how kind of intelligent you are. Go ahead and roll a notice roll, notice wisdom, to see if you can sort of time out some of these pulses that you could potentially make a climb. 8 is exactly what I wanted. So while you're waiting for Octavia and Sonica, Shirley and Laverne to show up, you time out in between each sort of eruption of like this immense heat, and you realize that there's about 12 minutes in between each pulse. Do you have any light sources on you, like a torch or something like that?
Yeah, I could light one up.
Okay, you light one up and you just drop it down, and you just track to see how far it goes. And if you were to estimate distance, you're thinking that it's somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe 400 feet, because it just goes and goes until you can't see it anymore, and it takes a while before you're able to kind of hear like the faintest of like clinks of echoes. It's got to be at least 300, 400 feet, something like that. So it's a significant climb down. But in doing so, you also notice that there are periodic railings, as if there used to be at one point. There was probably some kind of staircase, like maybe an emergency utility type staircase. Nearby, there is what looks like some sort of mechanical contraption that at some point was like a lift, like something would have come up and gone down and come up and gone down. And while you see the remnants of that machinery up on the surface, you don't see what platform it would be controlling. But you do notice that there is a sort of fractured and broken winding metallic staircase that goes along the inside of this huge shaft. It doesn't seem to be fully intact, and you're not sure how far it goes down, but you know that it would potentially aid you. It is dangerous, but you could potentially do that.
Okay, that might be useful then.
And is there anything else that you wanted to say? If there's something else you wanted to learn just from seeing or scouting, you're welcome. If you have an idea that I haven't thought of, throw it out there before they get here.
Maybe it's just like other people here.
No one stays near you. Like a couple times since you're here, probably about an hour by yourself, like just like, where the hell are they? This is getting ridiculous. More than once, you're going to see what looks like some workers coming over from the Mechanicers Guild. They just drop some sort of slop. They just take these big old metal buckets, and you see them just like hurl slop all the way down the hole. And they just kind of look over at you, and they're like, "Good day," and then back they go.
Then I'll just make like preparations to climb down.
Okay. So I'll say with the notice roll, if you're looking for a place to climb down, like it looks like it's about 20 or 30 feet to get down to the first like landing of that like a staircase. And when Octavia and Sonica finally arrive, you have affixed the rope to the machinery that's up on the surface in a way that would be sturdy, and you can begin your descent. I want everyone to go ahead and roll an exert strength, please. And I'm looking for 6s.
That's not a 6.
Okay. And any failures aren't going to result in you falling. It's just it's going to be slow. That's all. Which the slower you are, the more likely you're going to potentially open your guys up to. Holy crap. So yeah. So we'll say Weiss, it probably makes sense you would probably go first because you have been scouting the whole time, and so you kind of lead the way down. Octavia, you come next, and like you're kind of waiting on Weiss a few times. You're like right on his ass a bit. It's like, slower traffic, move to the right, for crying out loud. This is ridiculous. And the two of you get down to to this like rough metal railing, and when you put your feet on it, you can see that it's like intermixed like some sort of metal wire, rusted, and you can feel it kind of give, like it's a mesh, like it's some kind of, you're not sure if it's supposed to be flexible or not, but you feel your feet just sort of sink. And as you're standing here, like you knock a railing, and a little piece of railing breaks off and just falls, and you just hear cling, 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 as it falls all the way to the ground. And that's when you look up, and you guys can see that Sonica is just struggling. She's like the kid in the gym class who's trying to get and do the rope thing and can't quite do it. But she adds a little bit more time, and Weiss, you start timing out like, okay, this is just like 50 feet, and this is taking far longer than it should. While you're here, Octavia and Weiss, you look around and you can see that there's actually a couple, now that you're down a little bit further, you notice a few other things. You notice that there seems to be doors or vents that kind of go off into the walls in various places. It looks like there was some kind of writing etched into the walls themselves surrounding some of these doors and these vents, but you don't you don't speak the language. No one does. It's still sort of an in progress learning process. But Octavia, why don't you roll a notice test since Vice has already rolled one? As you wait for Sonika to get down.
I accidentally locked my screen.
Okay, well,
What
you
was it?
fail, and then Vice pushes you over the side. Vice, you already rolled your notice check. I'm just seeing if Octavia notices anything that you haven't.
Okay.
Slowpoke Sinenka.
What's attribute do you want?
Notice
Intelligence?
whiz is usually
Whiz,
is the
got
most
it.
common thing for just perception.
11.
Yeah, you notice that there appears to be about 30 feet down on the opposite side of this like circular shaft. You can see that there is another landing down there, and it seems to be fairly affixed and sturdy to the wall. And so you could potentially try to like shimmy off to the side and then drop down to it. And then you notice that there is a door right next to that landing. As Vice explains the explosions and stuff, it's possible if that door is open, you can kind of take shelter in it if one of those explosions, one of those eruptions were to occur.
That's perfect, Octavia. Let's
Yeah.
try to get there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then I want you guys to roll a dexterity exert as you try. This time it's less about like climbing up and down. It's more about kind of shimmying off to the side. And again, I'm looking for sixes. Anything below a 6 means just you're slow, doesn't mean you fall. Double
good.
ones mean you fall, though. Okay. You're able to get over there, and Vice, because of how long it took Sona to get down for this first leg of like which you think is 3 or 4 legs climbing down, you realize you could push it if you wanted, or you can just wait like 5 minutes because it took like half the time just to go this first quarter leg. And so you could either push and see if you can go a little bit further downwards and hope that there is some other alcove the further down you go, or you can just wait here until the next expulsion. The further you go, the darker it's getting. You still have light from above, but it doesn't shine all the way down to the bottom of the shaft.
Sure, we'll just wait for the next cycle.
Okay,
Be
no problem.
safer.
You bust open the door, which is openable, and you can see that it opens up onto some small room, but you notice that it likely would have extended further eastward, but the ceiling has collapsed onto it. You notice that there's a bunch of old machinery here, of what you think is ancient design. Going through the room, you can tell someone's been here before. So you start going through a few of the consoles, looking for console crystals. You know, the ancients have a tendency to power up their various HUD displays with these different colorful crystals that allow them to project almost like holographic imagery. And you notice that all of that's been taken. The metal itself, like is useful, but the problem is that the amount of effort it would take you to like break it down and haul it out is maybe not worth the cost for it. Like the crystals would have been the most important thing, but you're not able to find any of that. And there doesn't seem to be any working console in here. But while you're waiting, you hear the as the door rattles as one of those expulsions of gas and ash and smoke erupt outside. Did you guys want to try to do anything with some of this mechanical stuff, or did you want to just continue your descent?
No, I'm not looking to carry this.
Okay.
Leave it here.
All right.
Just make note of it.
Is there
Yeah.
anything that's like small that could go into a bag? It's not gonna like weigh us down anymore.
Roll a notice test. Green and blue. There are all sorts of colors, every color of the rainbow.
7.
You do notice that there is some sort of broken metallic lever of some kind that you could potentially use as a bludgeoning weapon.
I'll take a lever.
Okay, go ahead and take it. So you can put a club into your inventory. It's basically a club. That's all this is. But it looks like a big piece of this kind of bronze-colored, partially rusted piece of metal, and at the very end of it there is some kind of intersection where the lever probably once connected to a machine, but that intersection stays at the end and it creates like this bulbous end that probably is fairly heavy when it hits. So you have a club. So then you guys continue descent. Go ahead and roll another strength exert as you continue your climb. And again, I'm just looking for 6s. Okay. So with those rolls, you guys are able to descend the rest of the way down the tunnel, or down this shaft. And eventually you notice that at the base of this huge metallically rimmed shaft, you notice that eventually the metal at the bottom is eaten away. And the last about 60 or 70 feet of your climb looks something like sandstone or some other type of rock. It's kind of this dark orange brown. It's very hard. It's not like clay, as you're very easily able to like jam weapons into it or jam pitons or something like that as you climb down. You also notice that it's incredibly dark at this point by the time you get down to the bottom. When you land on the ground, it seems to be a mix of some kind of orange-brown sediment over top of various metallic panels. And as you move around, you can actually hear the echoing of your feet off of some sort of metallic flooring. A lot of it's been ripped up. You can see that there's small little ruptures in the metal where rock has kicked up out underneath it. There's also what looks like some sort of fallen debris from above, and as you start to sift through it, you realize it's the portions of the walkway that was along the inner lining of that shaft. And also while you're down here, you notice at the center of this huge shaft, there is what effectively looks like a geyser of some kind, and the earth itself is like it's regurgitating something. And as you're watching it, Vice, you get that inner clock goes off, and you guys step away at just in the right time. And the only reason you don't have to roll this is because Weiss was there and he was kind of getting the timing down. You watch as a big spurt of what looks like flame comes up out of this huge geyser at the bottom and just shoots some kind of cloud upward into the sky, and it flies up into the shaft itself. And in doing so, it expels this gas, and all of you begin to cough. So I imagine you guys go ahead and divvy up those respirators at this point.
Yeah.
Okay. So looking off, you notice, so as you put those on, the coughing kind of subsides. You're able to get a handle on yourselves. When you look around, there looks to be 3 ways out of this room. One of them looks to descend, and you can see that there looks to have been a staircase. You can actually see these intermixed with the residue from the earth. There's what looks like metal steps, and there's even a couple of them that are lit up a bit, almost like it's a movie theater type line lights. Another seems to just go horizontally right off to the west, and then you notice that there's this little trap door, like this little hatch. It's got this circular turning wheel that goes vertically downwards on the northern side of the room. So it's either east and then down some steps. It's west, sort of a flat, direct route into what looks like a cave, and then north and through a hatch going down into the ground.
Do we know which direction that what's it called, that district was?
Yeah, you guys want to get to Quadra 8, so you would know that from here you need to go underneath the Wrecker district first, and so that's off to the east. But you literally would have to go underneath it. And you guys are actually underground at this point.
Yeah.
But you would need to go to the east. So if you're just assuming that this is a straight line, then you would probably want to take the steps to the east.
Try that way then.
That makes sense to me.
Okay. All right. So you descend those stairs, and you find yourselves moving through like a rectangular metal tunnel for a ways. And when you kind of peer closely, you see these small portals along the right and the left side doorways, and they have like these rounded tops. Some of them look to kind of collapse inward, and you can kind of tell that the other side of the door is likely cave in, whereas others are openable if you really wanted to explore. Who would we say is kind of leading the way?
I can lead the way if we have someone behind, like tracking our. Or actually, Sonenka should not Sonenka. Sorry, Octavia. She's kind of the beef.
I have a thing that I could do. It lasts a scene, and it helps with dark vision, and it's a +2 on notice.
Okay.
That helps too.
All right.
If
I'll
you
kind
want
of trail
that.
and like see where we're going, track it.
Okay. So whoever is sort of leading the way, go ahead and roll a notice whiz test as you try to kind of keep an eye out ahead for signs of danger or other situations, things like that.
Actually, I don't, because I spent, sorry for effort. I spent effort on Tongue of the Beast earlier today, so I probably couldn't spend it.
Is that for the day? Training the beast, is that commit effort for the day, or is that commit effort for the scene?
It's an on-turn action.
But
It was
does
just an on-turn action.
but does
earlier.
it say to commit effort for the day or commit effort for like the scene?
I think it's commit effort as an on-turn action.
Okay, so yeah, it should reset then, and so you should have your
Okay,
effort
perfect.
back.
I just didn't want to
Yeah.
accidentally do too
If
many.
it's something that you can only use once a day, it would say commit effort for the day.
Okay, then I have it back. So then I'm going to commit effort for Savage Senses.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a notice whiz.
All right. And then I get a +2. 11.
Okay. So you, as you're wandering, it's actually not your eyes, but your ears that pick up on something interesting. You hear singing. You hear the sound of a voice somewhere up in the darkness ahead, and it's sort of echoing through this long metal corridor. And you also feel immense heat coming from up ahead.
Does the singing, when I try to listen to it, does it sound at all in like pitch similar to the group that we met?
The Furkin? No,
Yeah.
it's a rough, guttural voice.
I'll share that information with everybody. They're singing and it doesn't sound like adorable singing.
It also doesn't sound like a language you know. Notice what? I like it.
I don't think we got any info about other things down here.
Nope.
So
You got
it's
info
just
about
What's the
strange.
creature
smoke
sing?
coils, but you didn't get any info about people.
We can take a look to see what it is.
Okay. So you continue to move forward in the direction of the singing. And eventually this metal hallway that you've been in for a couple hundred feet ends abruptly. Like you look down and you can see the floor is ripped metal shreds. The sides of the walls are ripped metal shreds. The ceiling is ripped metal shreds. And you look down and there's this jagged, rocky wall that moves about. And eventually you see at the base of it, there's what almost looks like massive charcoals. Okay? And they're kind of lit and they're glowing. And you see at the center of this big old pit of these glowing charcoals, there is some sort of circular rocky area. And you see that there is a figure down there, and they're probably about 60 to 70 feet away from you at this point, and then you're probably another 30 to 40 feet above them. And you can see that they're down there, and they're sitting on what looks like a rock. There's like a tent nearby, and that's where the singing is coming from. And with your dark vision trick, Sonika, you almost didn't notice them because they have like no fire or anything nearby lighting them up. And they are pitch black. Completely pitch black.
Yeah, so upon hearing this language that no one understands, right?
What languages do you guys have? Let me take a look. Vice, did you...
Just mash stalk.
Okay. So you just have your native
just
native
native.
Kristara and
And
then
Mash, yeah.
and Mash. Mash is like our common language. Octavia, you don't have anything else. You're a Mimbo. You
Just Baphomese.
no, it's none of those.
Right. So in that case, I can commit 1,000 tongues here. My blood priest, so I'll, like bite my lip, so I can speak and understand any sentient creature with a language of their own.
Hmm?
So pretty much I can become fluent in it.
Okay. You hear what sounds like a song about it sounds like lost love. Like they're talking about it's the lyrics it's a lyrics to what looks like a ballad about somebody who lost their true love.
And it's just the one.
It's just the
Was
one.
it-
Yeah, it's like there's many lyrics that I could tell you right now, but I don't think I'm going to tell you all the lyrics right now because I don't have them. But the general sentiment is that it is a ballad about a lost love.
Seems harmless enough where maybe we can just pass through.
It's just Meatloaf saying I would do anything for.
Yeah. It's exactly what it is. No, it's Celine Dion. Baby, if you love me like this,
It's
touch
it's
me
Enya.
like that. So to believe it's all coming back to me now. Okay, sorry, I can't. All right, so yeah, what do you guys want to do? They also seem to have their back to you.
We can either. He'll know if we go through, right? It's the only way.
Yeah, it looks like there's. I mean, like you could try to sneak, of course. The other thing, Sonika, is like they're holding something in their hands. You can't quite make it out because their backs to you, but they have something in their hand. You're not sure if it's an instrument or if it's a tool or a weapon, but they have something. And it's also really hard to distinguish features because they are, again, just literally pitch black. Whether the clothes are pitch black or they're pitch black, it's hard to tell.
So Ninka is going to look at Octavia because she is generally the chatty one. And kind of like, this is your wheelhouse.
Do you want another friend? I can translate.
I mean, you guys, I can talk to them.
Of course. We got to get through.
Okay, so Octavia's gonna like walk up and
There are ways away. Do you go?
Not directly to this person,
Okay.
but like when I enter the room wherever we're at.
Okay, it's a massive open room, and they're a ways down, and there is like a jagged rock wall that leads down to it. Looks like a massive pit of those big charcoal briquettes, basically. And at the center of it, like an island of that big old pit, there is this platform. They're a ways away. I was just giving Sonika, like, because she rolled an 11 on her whiz test, I was giving her like a very clear view of it.
It'd be kind of shouting down.
You would be shouting, like they might be able to hear you, but like if you're doing any sort of complex communication, it would
Well,
be
then we'll
difficult.
say that like
move in, right?
Octavia's aware that somebody's there, but it's not like proper speaking distance, and she's like, I mean, if we get close enough, like I would love to introduce myself.
Okay.
Let's
Okay.
find a surface that's transverse.
Okay. Why don't one of you roll like a survival test or something like that, or if you just want to roll notice again, just look for a safe way down. Something like that is fine with me.
Okie dokie.
Every rose has its thorn, just like every night has its dawn, just like every cowboy
What are we pairing with
sings
a
a sad,
survive?
sad song. Usually it's wisdom in this case, but it could be something else if you think it makes more sense to you. Again, a lot of flexibility here. You guys have to like make your case for what you want to roll.
Okay.
All right, yeah, that's fine. 9, that's totally good. You guys don't. Sonika, you're able to pinpoint a narrow path. It's not like it's just a sort of a natural break in what looks like these different sharp rock formations erupting out of the ground, and you're able to weave your way down. And this whole time, like the singing still going on, and you guys come up to the edge of this big pit of these large charcoal briquettes, and you kind of move around a little bit to their left, and so they're still kind of behind you, but you've shifted off to the left, and you have a little bit better view of them. They're still probably about 50 feet away as they're across this pit in the middle of it, and you're just wandering around. And you can see as you look down these big old charcoal rocks, they just like light up, like they're like black and ashy, and then like they over like a couple seconds you'll see them just light up into like this orange red. There's this little burst of heat, and as you start peering around, you can see that they don't really pay attention to you. They don't really break their singing. It doesn't look like they've noticed you. So what do you do, Octavia?
Octavia's gonna go, hello? Don't want to startle you, but just, we're passing through.
Okay. And so you see the figure like start really fast, like no one was there, and they stand up, and you realize they're only like maybe 3.5 feet tall. Now that you're closer, and they're stocky. They're completely pitch black, but you can see that you're a little bit closer. There's a few little bits of like gray in there, in somewhere in there. They almost look like rock themselves as they turn to look at you. And they have what almost looks like the equivalent of like a fishing pole in their hands. And as you're at the edge of this pit and you're shouting across it, you hear them scream out to you, "No! Right, be careful!" As below you in the charcoal briquettes, you see this creature just erupt up out of it, scattering all of those large black briquettes in different directions, snapping up at Octavia. This thing is like 3 times your size. And I think we're going to end it there on the cliffhanger. No. And we'll have Ashley roll a backup character for next week.
Oh.
As a charcoal shark, or a char shark.
I like char shark.
Charcoal? A charcoal?
Shark.
Charcoal?
Sharkle.
A charcoal is reaching up to eat Octavia from the side. Okay. Awesome. So that's going to be it, I think, for us tonight. We've gone for a little over 2 hours now. That's usually our stopping point. Moby Briquette. Briquette? Oh, because you're doing like a Moby Dick thing?
Mm-hmm.
If anyone can come up with a cool idea for a charcoal shark and can come up with a name, reach out at Lollygagger CO or join the Discord and drop it as an idea, because that's basically what this is. All right, what do we got going on for the next couple of days? So Monday, we're over on the Free League Publishing channel. We are playing now I'm doing it. We're playing Things from the Flood. We play a game set in 1992. We are teenagers in the 90s in a weird southwestern desert town. Got a Twin Peaks vibe and stuff. So come check that out. We're doing weird stuff with dirt and meat and giant robots. It's good times. Next Friday, we'll be back to Delta Green, though I think we might be playing that later than normal, but I'll post up some info on Twitter as we might have some work schedule conflict. But we're going to try to hopefully get to the second of our Chapter 2 episodes for Delta Green and Possible Landscapes. And then a week from now, we'll be right back here playing more of Worlds Without Number. I had fun this session. I like fleshing out the world a little bit and fleshing out your characters, not always having to try to kill you guys with like creepy monsters and things. So let's go ahead and who we got here? We got an Ember Shark, Cinder Shark. I like the alliteration there.
I like
Charcoalodon.
because it's like charcoal and shark all in one.
It's like a megalodon. I like that. Okay. And I got Emberodon. Oh, I like this. I like the teaming up here. I like how everyone's riffing off each other on these ideas. Charcoal. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. I was trying to get charcoal before. Sun. Won't you come? Okay. I have ideas, and we'll figure it out for next week. Let's go ahead and raid somebody, see who's going on. A lot of the people we normally raid are off this weekend. Chuck and the Defenders are off getting murdered by by the Blair Witch in the woods in Missouri or Kansas somewhere.
With Tool to Twitch, right?
I don't. Are you there, Tool to
All the-
Twitch? Let's see who we got.
All the RPGs.
Oh yeah, with Christopher,
yeah,
all the
yeah.
RPGs. Let's see. Looks like Diesel Shot's up. So we're gonna go ahead and give Diesel Shot a raid. Looks like they are playing some of their Change Stars. Change Stars on Kickstarter. We played their game a couple weeks ago. If you want to check that out, we have it up on our YouTube. But if everyone just wants to hang out for a moment, I'm gonna go ahead and throw us on the end screen. I started up the raid, and then I'll shoot us over, and you can keep watching some fun tabletop role playing games. Thank you for everyone who joined. Thank you for everybody who was watching, throwing out
Thanks,
ideas for
everybody.
stupid shark names. And thank you to those of you who are watching later on YouTube. So bye bye.